talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Are you okay, comfortable with the call, or do you, after watching it, do you feel there needs to be more clarification on what is a catch?
Well, that's a complicated kind of a question there. Like, am I comfortable? No. Do I think there needs more clarification? Yeah, it's about as clear as mud right now. That's how I feel about it.
Does it make sense to you that when a guy gets 2 feet in, on the sidelines, that's a catch? You hit the pylon with the football, that's a touchdown. You break the plane, that's a touchdown. But somehow that's not ruled a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and it's a conversation. We had a conversation with the league office, and they were gracious enough to spend a lot of time on the phone with myself and Eric and Tony Mahalik, and we appreciate that. It didn't clear anything up. It didn't make it any easier to understand in either one of the two calls. They're very hard to understand how they get overturned, but they did, and that's where it stands.
That cost you the game?
You never know what costs you the game.
You said the 2 calls. Did you discuss with them the Travis Jones call, or is that another? Do you go a different process because that one didn't go through?
We did discuss the Travis Jones call as well, and the Travis Jones call. They told me I had permission to state this, that it was a wrong call. It should not have been called.
They told you that?
Yes.
So they got that going for them, which something. It's nice. Got that going for me, which is nice. Got that one wrong. For what it's worth, I am a little bit uncomfortable with it. Well, that cost the Ravens 4 points. Well, yeah, I mean, they also could have still gotten a stop.
Well, they did get a stop.
Right, but then they were still allowed to
You're right, they could have forced a fumble or something.
After that, they were still allowed to get a stop again. Like, yeah,
they got stops all game.
I get what?
They got stops all game. And
Well,
I was going through, our segment that we're going to do later, and I was like, oh, my God, the defense gave up 3 yards in all of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't really want to do the segment today. It's a dumb segment. Hi, hello. It's Glenn Clark Radio. That means that I'm Glenn Clark and he's Griffin, and that was John Harbaugh speaking to the media yesterday. And I think after today we finally put it all behind us. I think. I mean, I don't know until something else happens, and then we'll go from there. The Ravens are going to play another football game on Sunday, and their backs are completely against the wall. It's really ironic the NFL flexed the Patriots game into Sunday night, because if the Ravens lose to the Bengals on Sunday and the Steelers beat the Dolphins on Monday night, like, you are hard-pressed to buy that the Ravens are still alive. Like...
Well, just like they rigged Sunday, they're just going to make sure.
Is that what they're going to do?
Yeah, they're going to make sure Miami wins, and they're going to make sure
the Ravens win, so it's tied again going into that. Well, that's wild, man. It's a heck of a thought. Just kind of bizarre.
They let me see the script.
Thank you. I get they didn't have a good. I don't remember what the game was that was scheduled. I think it was
Bengals.
Dolphins, Bengals, if I remember correct, right? Ironically. So like, I get it. Like, those teams could both be out of it too, but it was just weird that was the game they chose. And I understand the Patriots are very good, and could end up being the number 1 seed in the AFC, but boy, it's a Ravens team that could be all but eliminated hosting that Sunday night game, which is wild. Steve Wyche, NFL Network's going to join us in a moment. Later this morning, Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, whose voice you just heard, asking John Harbaugh about the Travis Jones penalty. Also, we will check in with former Ravens defensive coordinator and Bengals coach Marvin Lewis, who is back in town. He'll join us a little bit later on. And our friend Joe Serpico will join us to preview Waiver-Wire Wednesday. All of that coming up here on a Tuesday edition of GCR. Let's get started, as our next guest was indeed there Sunday for Ravens Steelers. He is NFL Network's chief national reporter, and of course NFL Game Day Morning airs Sundays at 9 a.m. on NFL Network. He is our friend, Mr. Steve Wyche, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Steve, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you as always. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Glenn.
Steve, I don't want to continue to obsess over them, right? Because, like, the Ravens have real problems, and they're not related to these things. I have read and listened to all the opinions of the Gene Sterators and Terry McCauley's of the world and why they think that it was right to overturn it. But in their own wording, they say, well, the third step would be a football act. And I go back and I look at the rule and I say the rule says enough time to do that. And the ball was not punched out as the second foot hit the ground. There was an entire stride before that. Like, am I crazy? I feel like I'm being gaslit, Steve. Like, I just feel like there's a disconnect between what the people who know better than I do are saying about the rule and what I'm actually reading when I read the actual rule.
Well, I mean, more than anything, it's, the reading part should be tell you what your eyes told you. That's how I did it. We go over these rules over and over before the season starts. Officials comes in, they explain it. And by the letter of the rule, okay, think of Des Bryant. Think of Calvin Johnson back in the day when you had these controversial catches right by the end zone. 2 feet inbounds, right? You have 2 feet to show with possession of the ball to show you have it, right? So you've got it. Then they say you need to do something to show an act, a football move, so to speak. I think, in my opinion, Isaiah Likely extending the ball the way he did was that move, right? The fact that by the time he got the third foot down, Porter was ripping his arm down to have him lose possession, that's where I think the gray area of the interpretation came. But then you have to add in the element of him being across the goal line. Because how many times do we see a quarterback sneak and just zip the ball across the goal line and pull it back? Touchdown. Or he's running to the pylon, the front pylon, stretches it out across the goal line, goes out of bounds. Touchdown. That's where my confusion comes in.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he had two hands on the ball, 2 feet down, across the goal line, even for the bat of an eye. Right? That's where I'm like, okay, I see the rule, but we see that interpreted so many different ways when other people have possession of the ball and it crosses the goal line, even for the flash of a second.
I feel like the weird part being, you bring up the extension. A lot of people in Baltimore brought up the extension. The officials would say, well, the way the rule is actually written, the extension doesn't count because it happens before the second foot is down, which, again, separated because I still think they misinterpreted the rule. But I would think the first thing we would do is say, maybe we go back and clean that up because this is patently absurd, this notion that you've got to have the ball, for 5 seconds then afterwards?
No. Here again, I think the bigger confusion, if this happened in the middle of the field,
yeah,
right, I think that's where you can say, okay, I get it. He did not necessarily make a true football act. With that third step. He had possession of the 2 feet down, but didn't make exactly a true football act. But again, the fact that he was across the goal line, think about it over and over and over again,
yes,
where people may have the possession of the ball for a split second, and it gets knocked out of their hands, touchdown, because the ball crossed the goal line.
Right.
Think of all the quarterback sneaks. Think of Josh Allen just popping the ball out across the goal line, ball gets knocked out. Okay, touchdown, got it across the goal line. Well, that's where that thinking has to come in, because Likely had possession of it and both feet down across the goal line. And that's where, to me, personally, that's where I think the gray area gets completely blurred.
Well, and to the point, there's no reason for him to be turning up field, right? Which would be we say, like, you got to complete a football act. Well, in the field of play, you would try to turn up field. You're not going to do that in the end zone. You just want to catch the ball.
I mean, you could. It's a tough play. I honestly think the two other calls were more egregious, if you want to use that word.
The field goal thing was, insane.
Well, the field goal and Aaron Rodgers, when he got batted down, I thought, I'm like, hey, those are the ones I would really have my head on fire about.
Steve, all right. Now, the Ravens have real problems. They're 6-7. They, as I brought up, it's ironic that the league has flexed the Patriots game into Sunday Night Football, because if the Ravens lose in Cincinnati and the Steelers beat the Dolphins on Monday night, they're all but eliminated at this point, even before that game. What do you make of what's wrong? Because we've been through the hey, Lamar is not playing well enough. He's clearly limited by the injuries. He looked obviously a lot better physically on Sunday, and yet there were still issues. Is it just as simple as they can't win with the offensive line as constructed? What do you make of the Ravens just looking so pedestrian on the whole?
That's pedestrian. I think it's a combination of things. One, the offensive line clearly is even in the run game is not getting any push. We're seeing this with a couple teams. The offensive line is getting reset by opposing defensive fronts. The bigger issue is just scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fact that they can't figure out how to get the ball into the end zone in the red zone is problematic. Whether, it's not getting it to Mark Andrews, whether it's not finding a way to get Derrick Henry to punch the ball into the end zone, and they're settling for field goals. And you're just not going to win in today's NFL unless you've got the Houston Texans defense by not scoring at least 20 points a game, and that's usually a couple touchdowns. And they're getting one touchdown here, one touchdown there. And to me, that is their bigger issue, because I think their defense is playing pretty well. They're just not getting the ball across the goal line.
Well, and it feels like that should be criminal when you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in your backfield, right? Like, it feels like you're supposed to have the cheat code to be the best at this, and you're not even, to your point, average at it.
Well, I mean, look at some of the other things, and I just noticed this, watching that game in person. The Steelers weren't threatened by any of the Ravens receivers. I mean, they're daring. Teams are daring the Ravens, and we're seeing this with a couple teams across the NFL to throw it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll do some certain things coverage-wise to box up Zay Flowers. What else do you have?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another issue in the red zone. But that's where you got to be creative. You got to do some rub routes. You got to do some mesh routes. You got to do some things to spring things open. But all their coverages, I mean, their receivers for the most part are blanketed. I mean, these are tight plays that they're having to try to score with as well. So, once again, we're going to start talking about, do the Ravens have enough receiving threats?
Steve Wyche, NFL Network, with us here on GCR. Steve, is there still time to solve these problems? I mean, we're 13 games into the season. It feels like you kind of are what you are at this point. They do still have Lamar Jackson. Like, is there still time to fix this over the last 4 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, look, Pittsburgh's not going to all of a sudden go on a heater and run away with this. I think it's going to come down to Week 18. Excuse me. But, the Ravens, their margin for error is 0, right? They've just got to win. And then, come to Week 18 when they play Pittsburgh again, they have to hope they have a shot. It is just, I mean, certain things can be fixed. I mean, again, those calls go the Ravens' way. Even one of them, they probably win that ball game.
Yeah.
But I do think running the football and fixing stuff on that offensive line, those are things that may not be able to get fixed. So you've got to be more creative, maybe with some of the play design and play calling, to get some points on the board, knowing that your offensive line is just not getting the push it typically gets.
See, let me ask it this way. I think someone would say, maybe they could still get in because the Steelers are so mid, and the Bengals, it would take a miracle at this point. Maybe they could still get in, but it kind of doesn't matter. We know this team just isn't good enough to compete to do anything that matters, even if they were to get into the postseason. And yet, I'll still have people that will say, like, well, I mean, have you looked around? Like the AFC, it's not, everybody's just going to lose the Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs almost certainly aren't going to be there at this point. It is the entire conference. Does it have enough warts that you could go 9-8 or 10-7 and still make a deep playoff run given the imperfections of the AFC?
We've seen it happen before. I mean, there have been some teams, think about some of those Giants teams that went to Super Bowls. Those weren't great offensive teams. All of a sudden they get into the playoffs and get on a heater. Eli Manning is known for being a great postseason player. We've seen it. And now, when I look at this team and I look at the rest of the conference, I don't think the conference is struggling necessarily as much as what people say. It's not the offensive juggernaut it used to be, because I think the Chiefs are down, but do you really want to play the Houston Texans defense with that offensive line? Do you want to face Denver's defense with that offensive line? Like, that's when you have to say, I mean, you've got some stonewall defenses now across this conference, and just the offense isn't punchy enough, in my opinion, to beat those teams.
Steve, are you surprised by how the Ravens have just stuck with it, particularly with the guards? I mean, they tried an experiment with Emory Jones last week and then completely abandoned that this week. Are you surprised that they've just stuck with it, or do you think that at this point, continuity is still somehow more valuable than whatever potential small upside there might be from just giving a shot to an inexperienced, a lineman that you might put in a spot like that?
Yeah, I mean, my experience in covering this league long enough to know if a team is still sticking with it, the plan B is not better.
Yeah.
That's usually what it is.
It's just so hard to believe that, right? And I know you're right, and I know that's something I brought up a lot, but it's just so hard to believe it when you watch and say, man, there's really no way that just trying anything else might be better than this. I completely get it. We're not serious about Phillip Rivers, right? This is gonna be a larf. This is gonna be a joke, right? The Colts aren't actually doing this, are they?
Looks like it. I mean, I don't know if he's going to, sign a deal. I think that's got to be mutual. But the fact that the Colts went to Phillip instead of going to some other options out there who've played more recently, to me, I don't think there's some whimsical, hey, they're on life support right now. They've got a good team who with quarterback issues, and there are some players who are out there that, I think Trevor Siemian's available, guys like that. So the fact that they're going to Phillip, to me, is okay, he knows the system. He's familiar with the coach. Let's give it a shot. I'm bamboozled by it.
Yeah.
But it seems like something could happen.
It really does seem like beyond the realm of anything that is reasonable, right? And I don't know, man.
It makes very little sense to me on both sides, but Phillip at 44 wants to go out and get hit by Max Crosby or something else. Hey, more power to him.
I mean, I joked for I want to say we would do these hypothetical segments when the Ravens wide receivers were garbage for years. I would do these fun hypotheticals. What if Calvin Johnson wanted to come back, right? And I swear, even to 3 years ago, I was still, maybe I consider it. Calvin Johnson today is still 4 years younger than Phillip Rivers.
At that position and not playing it for 5 years.
I know, and that's right. Because somebody would say Tom Brady played till he was 46. I get it, right? But still, that's one. Come on, man.
Yeah, but also Tom Brady didn't take 5 years off. That's why Phillip Rivers is a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame. He's in the 5-year window.
Oh, it's utterly insane. It's utterly insane. And I get it. They don't have good options. I understand. But to your point, is Ryan Tannehill just utterly unwilling to play football at this point? Is that part
I am assuming, or they haven't made that call. Yeah. I mean, even people who've like Chase Daniel, who's in the media, who's been out for a year. Chase is someone who could pick up an offense in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Steve, what's ahead this week for you?
Well, I'll be in studio this week, but next Thursday I'll be at that Rams-Seahawks game. That's going to be a huge game because that NFC top spot, that's going to come down to the wire between those two teams. The 49ers are very much in it, and the Packers. Yeah. So You
Of
know,
course.
I think the Eagles did they hurt themselves big time yesterday.
No doubt. At Wyche89 on Twitter is how you follow him. NFL Game Day morning, Sundays 9 a.m. on NFL Network. Steve Wyche, always appreciate you, man. Thanks for spending time with us. Let's do it
Hang
again.
in there, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Get back to me in a week, and we'll talk.
There you go.
Thanks, buddy. Steve Wyche with us here on GCR. I cannot believe the Phillip Rivers thing. I like legitimately kept waiting for someone to be like, yeah, this is a hoax.
I like the idea that it's he's got 10 kids at home.
Well, yeah, it's the Joe Flacco thing.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like dealing with these kids. But he doesn't really have 10. One of his kids is 23 years old. He doesn't have 10 kids at home. He has grown-ass adult children.
Okay, so he's got 8 kids. Yeah.
It's still it's wild, man, that this is even a thought that anyone involved would be like, yeah, let's consider this.
Well, I mean, this is the team that saw Jeff Saturday breaking down offensive lines on ESPN Monday
Said,
morning.
you
and
can coach the team.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got it. Your team to coach.
They're just trying to honor Jim Irsay probably with this.
Is that what this is? This would be what Jim would want?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be somebody else. And everybody,
Jim's
the funny
like,
thing
why
is,
not call Steve Young?
everyone was making the exact same Joe Flacco joke right up until we saw this. Like, everybody was just like, the Bengals should do the right thing and release Joe Flacco. And, like, there's a part of me that says if they were to be eliminated,
Yes.
then yeah, like, I could see that argument, but would they even be eliminated with a loss on Sunday? And I don't even think they're going to lose on Sunday, but
So,
would they be
they'd have to be
eliminated?
eliminated from the division, right? So
Right.
it'd be,
Would them losing and the Steelers winning eliminate them?
yeah, because they'd be stuck at 4 wins.
Right. But they could still get to 7-10.
The Steelers would be if the Steelers
The
win
Steelers
Monday
would be
night.
8
they'd
and
have,
6.
Yeah, they'd have 8
Yes. So
wins.
yeah, it'd be over. Right. So at that point, come on, man. Come on. Do the right thing. This is the Ravens control the destiny of whether or not the Bengals can release Joe Flacco. Yeah, that was the big story. The Eagles obviously did win. The Eagles lost to the Chargers on Monday Night Football. What was a really brutal game.
I mean, there was 15 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
Jalen Hurts had the miraculous -4-point fantasy play.
an interception. Well, but does he not? I guess you don't get fantasy points for a fumble recovery, right?
If you have the Chargers defense, yeah.
Right, but he had a fumble recovery.
No, you don't. I don't think
You
he
don't
gets
get any points for that.
No, he just gets a -2 interception,
then
-2
for the fumble.
fumble.
Wild dog. And the thing is, somebody would say, well, it was just great defense. And, like, in moments, I think it was great defense. And then in other moments, I just think it was chucking the ball
Chargers
around.
offensive line's not good.
The
and then
Chargers
also-
offensive line
Yeah, and
stinks.
also Jalen Hurts was just launching. it
Also,
sometimes.
why was Justin Herbert so pissed off after the game?
Sully had a hell of a game. Did you see his
No,
highlights?
I did not end up spending any
James P.
time with
Sullivan
monsters.
was wreaking havoc.
It was a wild, after the game, is that Laura Rutledge was going to try to get the interview with Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert was openly telling her no. I'm going to go celebrate with my team, and she's just like, right, but before that, this was from ESPN. It was very bizarre. What I understand you, but just do 3 questions, then go celebrate with the team. This was a really weird bit.
I'm trying to celebrate with my team.
No, I know, but can we just talk to you really fast?
He's
What
really
was it like
pissed
to watch
off.
the interception there that sealed this game for you guys to get this win?
Yeah, the defense played incredible. They came up with so many big stops
We
today.
didn't
So
even watch the entire
so proud
Justin
to
Herbert
be able to play for
interview.
those guys.
It was just very weird, how angry he was when they won, and to the point you could say he wasn't great, but I think we all watched the same game.
He's got a broken hand in his offensive line.
Yeah, and he was running for his life, and I think he did everything he could possibly be asked to do in order to win the game, and thankfully his defense played really well. It's just weird that he was so angry afterwards. I'm like, all right, man, okay, you got it. It was a weird night, but yeah, the Chargers win, so it's sort of.
AFC West is still up for grabs.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. They're alive still in the AFC West, and it fortifies how these 6 and 7 teams just have no hope in the wild. The wild card spots are the 3 teams, and I guess, and mathematically still the Colts, but not really the Colts because the Colts don't have a quarterback. Like, it's some miracle that allows the Colts to get quarterback play from someone, whether that's Riley Leonard or 80-year-old Phillip Rivers, then the Colts can still be in the conversation. But it really does look like the wild cards are going to come down to whoever doesn't win the South, whoever doesn't win the West, and I guess technically whoever doesn't win the East, but the Patriots have a pretty serious leg up on the Bills there, but the Bills do still have another game with the Patriots left. So that's how the wild cards appear as though they're going to shake out, barring Phillip Rivers turning back the hands of time and being Phillip Rivers again. Let's continue to talk Ravens this morning here on GCR. Don't forget, these are the final days to pick up this print issue of PressBox with Jim Smith on the cover. The new print issue, our annual best of issue, will hit newsstands next week. Joining us now, he covers the Ravens for PressBox. He is our friend Bo Smolka, and he is with us now here on GCR. Bo, any truth to the rumor that the Ravens found out that you would be gone as soon as the season was over, and they were like, oh, God, let's get the season over with more quickly?
I don't think so, but the season does look to be like it might end more quickly than anyone hoped, and certainly more quickly than anyone thought back in August.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that the stakes are much bleaker right now after losing that game. They put themselves in a box, and they've put them there. There's no question about it. They are where they belong, and they just have to reckon with it and try to finish strong.
Bo, it's really difficult talking about this game because, as you guys brought up ad nauseum in the press conference yesterday, it's hard to separate the weird of it from the failures of it. And there are enough of both, but it's one of those things where if the Ravens just go get their ass kicked, it's easier to say, all right, well, we've got our answer. Like, it's just over. They didn't do that. They did lots of things that might have been enough to win. I can't say definitively that they could. Like, I don't like their chances of going and winning in Cincinnati this week, but I can't say they can't. It's just very difficult for me to make sense of all of it.
Yeah, it's tough, like you said. I mean, but this is how this year has gone, right? I mean, yeah, if this, if that, if that. Well, all those ifs. None of them came to pass. And, yeah, I know, they got robbed on the Travis Jones play, and the NFL has come right out and said, we blew it. And there's no going back on it. It just happened. And there's nothing they can do about it now. And as John Harbaugh said yesterday, we move on. And, yeah, you can argue about the rule of the Isaiah Likely touchdown catch, but the rule is what the rule is. And I agree with others who say it's just inconsistently applied. And if Isaiah Likely catches that ball,
I still disagree that they'll still think by the letter of the law it actually was a catch. I've read it 3 times. There's enough time to make a football move there. Like
I'll say we can interpret what the football move would be. He did not get the third step down, and if that's what they're looking at as the third football move, again. But again, if you were to make a toe tap catch on the side of the sideline in the end zone and just chuck the ball into the crowd, it's a touchdown 100 times out of 100. And so that. But again, there also are issues. We've talked about it before, or we talked about it a lot yesterday with John Harbaugh and elsewhere. I mean, the bottom line is they let Jaylen Warren basically walk uncontested down the sideline for a 40-yard touchdown because they blew a coverage. Their last 2-minute drive was complete mess, and John Harbaugh said as much. There are reasons they lost that game other than a blown call or a controversial call. And so it always comes back to that, and I understand the fans can be bitter, and rightfully so on a couple of those. I still don't. The Aaron Rodgers interception / catch was also a questionable one, but it is what it is, and they have, as John said yesterday, they just have to move forward. There's no choice. So they go to Cincinnati in basically must-win mode. I mean, it's a cliche. We use it all the time, but it is really getting to be must-win. I mean, I don't know that they can recover if they don't win Sunday.
Bo, is there reason to be encouraged by the offense in the second half? I think I'm perplexed by why there weren't RPOs in the first half. Why? I am really struggling with the Lamar of all of this, which is we were convinced that he was playing poorly because he was physically limited, and I still think that's probably part of the conversation, but then you see them start mixing in RPOs in the second half, and they look pretty functional at that point. Should we read that as like an encouraging sign that maybe they're moving more towards unleashing the full potential of the Ravens offense? Like I can't wrap my head around that part of this either.
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that the expectation was they'd be able to run on the Steelers, and so that I think was part of it. Like, well, where is it? Where is it? This is the team that the Bills ran for like 260 yards against. Let's run the ball against them, and I think Lamar Jackson did look a little better. Again, there were some throws that were not sharp, and I know he got a couple of his incompletions were because he was getting grabbed by the ankles at the time. He's just trying to get rid of the ball. But it did look a little better. It still wasn't as crisp as it needs to be to win against good teams. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to win consistently and the way they, I think, need to win, and by that I mean not just a fluke block punt or something, they're going to need that RPO game has to be working for them. They have Derrick Henry. They think they'll have Keaton Mitchell, whose knee injury doesn't look like it's serious. But, yeah, the RPO is a big part of what they do. I do think Lamar Jackson's still not 100%. I think he's not quite there. I thought there were times he could have run and chose not to, and I think that might be physical to an extent. But that RPO game has to be part of who they are. And we can argue all the time about at times it vanishes or at times they choose to go elsewhere. But I do think for this offense to do what it wants to do and for this team overall to play what they call complementary football, that RPO game has to work.
Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer with us on GCR. Bo, I've discussed with you my concerns about Tyler Loop a couple of times this season. And it's not that I know that he can't do it. It's that I don't know if he can do it. I have no idea if he's really an NFL kicker, or if he's a good college kicker, someone who can make kicks from inside 50 yards. And the really perplexing part to me, and I have tried desperately to find the numbers, but boy, does it feel like the Ravens are constantly starting after kickoffs on their 26-yard line, whereas it feels like on the flip side, their opponents are constantly starting at about the 38-yard line. And these are rough estimates. I don't have the averages. I can't find them. And I know that it came up yesterday, and John Harbaugh talked about it a little bit, but if the kicker can't make these kicks, it feels like maybe there needs to be a different strategy, or there needs to be a different kicker. Like it feels like there's this bizarre advantage that opponents are having in the kickoff game that the Ravens are not able to take advantage of whatsoever.
Well, it is interesting, and John Harbaugh mentioned yesterday, when the kick goes out of bounds or the kick lands short, and he said, he implied it. Sometimes it's just like a missed hit. He cut it like into a golf shot that just doesn't get as far as you expect it to go. Well, and now in this game, if that happens, the other team's getting the ball at the 40, or if the kick is out of bounds. I will say on Sunday there was something. It seemed a little strange with Tyler Loop in the pregame. He was really struggling to. I know they try to angle those kicks, they practice those kicks and so forth, and they're usually off center. And by that I mean the one team's kickers are kicking from like the numbers to the sideline down toward the one end, and Loop is kicking from the numbers to the sideline toward the other end. So he's not kicking from the center of the field. But he hooked one so badly left in that pregame warm-up that it actually hit some fans, almost like an errant golf drive will. And he waved to the fans. He tried to make sure they were okay. But I hadn't seen him do that all year. And he hooked a couplers out of bounds to the left as well. And then it didn't really surprise me that he pulled an extra point left. There was something didn't quite look right in his whole pregame in that game. Overall, Chris Horton will say, well, we're trying to experiment. They want to pin those kicks toward the corner and use that sideline as a boundary. And it's a gamble because if you're off by a little bit, suddenly it's out of bounds and they get it at the 40. But to your other point, yeah, it does seem like other teams are getting longer returns and starting with better field position. And John Harbaugh mentioned one of the things about this kick rule is if you start at the 35, 38, 40-yard line, a couple passes and you're practically in field goal range now with these new kicking balls. So one or two first downs and you're practically in field goal range. So they they believe that 10 to 15 yards you're talking about between starting from the 38 and the 23 is a big, big deal. And I'm sure they are frustrated that, I don't know the numbers as well, but I agree with you. It does seem like the field position starting after kickoffs has been significantly better for the opponent. And it probably is a consistent issue.
Yeah, and it just sort of adds on to and I don't know if the kicker can make a kick beyond 52 yards, and I just don't know if they have an NFL kicker on their roster. I don't know. I hope, but I don't know if that's the case. But other than all this, everything's great, right? Like everything. Somebody would say, the defense wasn't that bad, but, they recorded 0 sacks against a 42-year-old opposing quarterback. And it's why I come back to, like, could they still get in, Bo? Yeah, they could still get in. I can't ignore that. But I think we have more than enough evidence that this just isn't a very good football team on the whole.
Well, I just think that, I think either of these teams, Pittsburgh or Baltimore, is going to get in the playoffs, and they're going to get a home game. And maybe they can pull off an upset in a home game. I would expect they'll be the underdog in whatever home game they have in the playoffs. But it doesn't look like either of these teams is primed for a deep run. I know they'll say what they want to say, but they have shown no evidence that they're primed for any kind of deep run. I will say in the game on Sunday, it was interesting to me that to his credit, Aaron Rodgers threw some great balls. And I joked, or I tweeted something out almost as a joke. I said, it feels like it would be the most Mike Tomlin thing ever to not to have Aaron Rodgers throw downfield for a month just so he could do it 10 times against Baltimore.
Ravens, yeah.
But the first play of the game, that was a beautiful throw, 52 yards, a beautiful throw.
A beautiful push-off from DK Metcalf.
Well, a veteran player's going to make, right?
Yeah.
But the ball was there. The ball was there. And then he threw a nice one down the sideline to Austin against Joby Awuzie. That ball was perfectly placed.
Yep.
So they made plays. The Steelers made enough plays to win that game, and the Ravens didn't. And that's just kind of what it comes to. And, the calls and all that I get. But to get back to the original question, no, it doesn't look like a team that's primed for a deep run. Yeah, they can still win it, but look at the task ahead of them. They probably need to win 3 of their last 4. That's going to probably have to be they've got Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, New England, and Green Bay, with Green Bay on the road, Pittsburgh on the road, Cincinnati on the road. They probably have to win 3 of those 4. It doesn't look to me like a team that is set up to do that. Can they do it? Yeah, they could do it. But again, this is who they are, and this is where they've earned where they are.
Oh, and I think the difficult part of the question is there a possibility that goes the exact opposite way? Like that
they don't win again?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's absolutely a possibility of that. Yes, there's definitely. Every one of these games they could lose, no question about it.
Yeah.
And you've got. Plus you've got. Let's face it. It's not like New England and Green Bay aren't fighting for something when they face those teams.
Yep.
So those teams are going to have enormous stakes when they play the Ravens, and so it's kind of on the precipice of being really bleak.
Yep.
And the stakes can't be any higher, but there's just an unsettled feeling about all of it, and it's a problem, and time is growing short.
What else are you monitoring this week? I assume Ardarius Washington is pretty high on that list.
Yeah, Ardarius Washington and Tavius Robinson, both of them started practicing last week. It wouldn't surprise me if they're both back. Honestly, I was very surprised. John Harbaugh hinted that maybe Ardarius Washington would play last week, which struck me as very surprising because, he had not practiced since April when he got hurt until a week ago. But both of them I thought were moving okay last week, Washington. So, yeah, we might see either of them, and then we're looking to see if we see Keaton Mitchell out there on Wednesday. I know he got hurt on that long run at the end of the 55-yard run or whatever he had, limped off. John Harbaugh said yesterday they got, quote, good news on the testing on him. He called him day-to-day. So we'll be waiting to see if Keaton Mitchell's out there and can contribute this week. I know people are still kind of looking back and saying, where was this guy the first 7 games of the season? And it's a fair question, but we'll be waiting to see if he's out there on Wednesday as well.
At B Smolka, that's how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com is where you see his stuff. Bo Smolka, always appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday, all right?
All right, Glenn, thanks.
Bo Smolka with us here on at GCR. Yeah, Jeremy Fowler among those reporting today that Keaton Mitchell's MRI came back clean, considered minor. The Ravens could really use the explosiveness that Keaton Mitchell has provided on the edge in getting the run game going, particularly given the struggles they've had trying to get the run game going up the middle with their offensive line. All right. Bunch of stuff today from the winter meetings.
More things change, more they
Well,
stay
right.
the
Like
same.
Kyle Schwarber is sticking around in Philadelphia, and the Dodgers are
told you.
spending money on baseball players. So Kyle Schwarber, was it 5 years?
150.
150. So
But
probably
hey, the Pirates offered him a deal.
that's right. And it's probably a little bit more years-wise than we thought that Kyle Schwarber was going to get.
How old is he? What is he, 34? Give or take?
Is that right? I don't remember if that's 34 or 33. I don't remember. But I feel like we were all thinking it was more like 3 to 4 years for Kyle Schwarber.
32.
32, yeah, okay, there you
Give
go.
him an old man.
So he gets 5 for the Phillies to keep him.
He's also going to be playing in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, good.
Much to your
Neato.
chagrin.
We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Kyle Schwarber, take him off the board, although there is still reports that apparently Pete Alonso is driving to the winter meetings in order to meet with teams. And reportedly, among the teams he's going to be meeting with will be the Baltimore Orioles. Now, does that mean the Orioles are going to land Pete Alonso? Not at all. But I guess it is at least interesting that he's going to meet with him. That's not nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing to add to it. Yeah, Scott Boras had his gaggle at the winter meetings where nothing. Again, you have to do it, but you learn nothing in that.
What do you mean? You need to learn a new little phrase or something
Yeah,
that you probably never heard
some
before.
riddle, some. Yeah, so there's that going on. Edwin Diaz does go to the Dodgers, and look, to be fair, the Orioles got their closer. Ryan Helsley's their closer, so like that wasn't they lost out, I guess, unless. Well, maybe they still did lose out because I probably still would have preferred Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, but they weren't going to sign Edwin Diaz.
No, they weren't
going
going
to
to give
3
him.
years, 60.
No, they definitely were not going that route.
So that's why I think it is.
But should they have? This is the
Sure.
There's a difference between when they weren't doing that. We could say that with a lot of things. Should they have done that? And I don't. That one's tougher for me. Like part of the complication is what is Felix Bautista if he returns again? Like what is he? Can you still count on him to ever be Felix Bautista again? It's part of why the structure for the Ryan Helsley deal perhaps works for them. If Ryan Helsley's great, he's probably going to opt out. They could turn back to Felix Bautista. If he's not great, maybe he opts in and is now just a leverage arm with Felix Bautista as your closer. If he's great and for some reason opts in, then you have the option of saying to Felix Bautista, hey, until we see that you're that guy again, maybe we use you in the 7th and the 8th innings. And then if you go back to being Felix Bautista, we can have that conversation. There's just lots of, like, you can say that makes sense. Committing 3 years to a closer, if they're only going to spend so much money, maybe I'd prefer that money be spent. I would just prefer you spend all the money on all the good baseball players. That would be my preference. Go get all of them. But they're not going to do that. And so it is what it is. And yes, Griffin's very excited that Gunnar Henderson's going to play in the World Baseball Classic.
Why aren't you?
I could not be more indifferent. Here are my list of priorities for Gunnar Henderson. Be healthy. Be ready for the start of the season. I don't give a rat's ass what he does production-wise in the World Baseball Classic. I don't give a rat's ass if the
Look how cool
the
this hype video
Americans-
is.
Great, neat. I like Gunnar Henderson. I want him to be ready to play baseball. That's what I care about when they actually play baseball. I know this becomes a yuck your yum thing, and that's why I try to make it so that I'm indifferent.
Maybe this is perfect because
It's
a little bit of a slow start last season.
Right. If this helps him get ready for the start of the season, I'm for it. If he gets hurt, I'm going to be apoplectic. The World Baseball Classic isn't real. It's an exhibition television show that we like because it's slightly more exciting than watching spring training baseball. Given the alternative, it's a decent TV show, but it's not a real baseball competition. We know that because the pitchers aren't allowed to pitch, and nor should they be. It's not actually baseball. It's some other thing, and that's fine. If baseball ever ends up in the major leaguers ever compete in the Olympics, they're not going to let the pitchers pitch in that either. That won't be a real baseball competition either. At least it'll be the Olympics, and that does matter. But, this is just a TV show. If they win, neato. If they don't, who cares? It ain't the World Cup. It's just a television program. If Gunnar Henderson can use it to be a little bit more ready to start the season, awesome. If he gets hurt, I'm going to jump off a cliff. I don't care if the Americans win or not. I will never care because it's not a thing. It is not. It's not real.
And you're not a patriot, right?
That's exactly what it is. I hate America. So everybody knows about me. CountySports.zone is where you find everything you need to know about.
Lucky Drew's not here today.
Right, yeah. High school. There's no way Drew. Well, he would lie and say he cares about the World Baseball. He doesn't actually, other than it gives him something to bet on. He does care about that part, that he can bet on it. But you can bet on spring training games, I think. So, he doesn't. He does. I think you can. I think you can.
Well, yeah, you just go to the ballpark and say, hey, I bet
no
run scored.
I think you can bet on your app about spring training games. CountySports.zone is where you find everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. If you missed anything from championship weekend down in Annapolis, get the recaps right now. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Marvin Lewis will join us next. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. I had to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, but it was great to catch up with Marvin Lewis, and we can listen to that right now here on GCR. Well, it was great to have our next guest here on GCR back in town this weekend, along with all of the members of the Super Bowl 35 championship team celebrating the 25th anniversary. He, of course, the defensive coordinator for that team, and a man who knows a thing or two about the Ravens and the Bengals as they get ready to square off this Sunday in Cincinnati. He is, of course, our friend Marvin Lewis, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you as always. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Oh, you're welcome. How you guys doing this morning?
Everything is all right. Well, other than we still don't know what a catch is, Marvin. I'm not sure if you know what a catch is in the NFL, but if you can help us, that would be great.
I was shocked. There's no question about it. I was shocked. He's extending the ball because he doesn't want the defender to try to knock it out of his hands, and to me, he took 3 steps and 1, 2, 3, and I don't know. I don't understand the explanation of that. I don't know if Coach Harbaugh got an explanation yesterday or not, but I would say I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, it was funny. He said he did, but he still doesn't understand it and described the catch rule as clear as mud, which I think is probably pretty appropriate for what we all understand. Marvin, away from that, the weekend, being back, when you guys are able to get everyone, or as many as you can, and obviously, unfortunately, we've lost a few guys over the years, but what are these weekends like? What does it mean to you, to the guys involved, and how were all the events this weekend?
Well, first off, it was done just first class. The Ravens organization and Matt Little, who specifically was in charge, kudos to him. Everyone just said, so well done, and the detail of it and just how everything kind of came off smooth. But yes, to get back and be around the coaches again and us to laugh and talk about stories and so forth, and then all the players. But the thing that was coolest is because it has been 25 years, these players now have grown families. I mean, they have grown kids. And that was really cool to see the guys bring their families back and let them experience it. It was really something.
I do have to add, because I tried asking Brian, and he didn't have the right answer. But sadly, obviously, the first time you guys have done this since we lost Goose. But the irony, of course, being that Goose was always the loudest in the room, I'm sure, whenever you guys got together. So who takes over the role of being the loudest in the room when you guys get together now?
That's funny. I think it was probably more a combination of everybody kind of bringing it together. Mike McCreary had his funny moments when we took a photo. Ray is always going to be somewhat of a leader and spearhead things. But probably Chris McAllister is still like a 12-year-old, looking for mischievous stuff to do. That was the kind of fun that we all got a kick of watching him throughout the weekend. But, when the team goes through adversity like we did during that season, It even brings everybody closer and closer together. And these guys are special. They've remained great friends, which is really cool, supportive of each other. You mentioned Goose. His 2 daughters were there, and that was just so cool for them to come and show up and represent their father, because we all have such great memories of Tony and his antics. And I remember those girls, when they were born, or their little one was born in 2001, and Samantha going to the house when she was a young girl. So it was special to see them and to see them just carry on their father's tradition.
Yeah, what they're doing with Goose Flights, that's remarkable, and they are special people, so that's really cool. Marvin Lewis is with us here on GCR. Marvin, you mentioned adversity, right? Obviously, that's something that this current team is dealing with, and it's not the inability to score a touchdown, which is what you all dealt with for 5 weeks, but it's sort of, I don't know how to explain it. It's incongruent. It's just something appears to be amiss, and yet, with 4 games left, they are only a game back of a playoff spot. Can you tell me about what you learned 25 years ago about adversity and how a team handles it? Because I think a lot of us believe it requires, like we start to psychoanalyze everyone. Is this guy pissed off enough when he's talking? Should there be more yelling? Should there be more team meetings, players only? Like, what do you do when you're going through this type of thing? How do you go about handling it when you're going through something like this?
Well, I think first off, the internal leadership they have on the team, and then the thing that I think our guys did so well is took care of their own business. And if you handle your business and your teammate beside you handles his business, you don't have to farm somebody else's crops. You just handle your business. And if you do that, and we all do that collectively, we've got an opportunity to kind of pull out of this. And then, and we did, and we went on a 12-game win streak. And that's the difference is you learn, that I just need to handle mine. If I do mine all the time and take care of mine, the rest of it will be, will take care of itself. And I think that's what, sometimes teams need that. And, they and it's not like you got to do anything real different. Just make sure you're handling your own business.
Is all the other stuff performative, Marvin? Like all that when we, this is an example, right? Like everybody wants to see the quarterback scream at his offensive lineman when they miss a block. Is all that type of stuff performative? Like if guys were doing that, would it feel forced, empty, those types of things?
Well, only if Lamar's doing it, if he's getting their attention in practice and it's something that's common. But to come out there and all of a sudden provide more angst on game day, which is already there, that's not helpful to anybody. So, if that's the way Lamar carries himself during the week, the way he helps, drive people forward and so forth, then that's good. But if it's not him and it's fake, it's never going to work very well. And, there's enough angst on the sideline on Sunday anyway. You don't need to provide any more. That's the thing is this, you don't want your brain surgeon to be yelling and screaming to you going through surgery. So I don't think you need your quarterback to do that now. He can handle and help make correction and bring, help a teammate move forward. But, the thing about a bad play is you got to forget it and move on to the next play. Because that's the most important play coming up is the next play.
Here's Marvin Lewis. He's with us here on GCR. Marvin, I know you've been doing some analyst work these days. As you watch the Ravens, can you make sense of why it's just not clicking for them?
Right. No, I haven't had to study them because I haven't done any of their games. Actually, I don't think I've had any crossover opponents, but the one thing I would say, and just what I've seen on TV and when I got a chance to see anything, is just, is it the offense taking care of the football, which they had an issue with 2 weeks before, a week ago. They didn't have that issue on Sunday. Defense, make sure we're tackling and sound. We're cupping the football. It's just small tweaks and small things to make sure you're getting everything right all the time. It's not a major thing, but again, it's each guy making sure he's handling and doing his job and taking care of his responsibility. You're paying Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron can still move and slide through the pocket. So make sure we're doing the right things to keep him contained within the pocket. And those are the things, the small things that lead to bigger breakdowns in games. And if you handle those, then you're going to be fine. But that's just, my 1,000-foot observation of, or whatever you want to call it. But
no,
from afar,
I appreciate it. Do you feel like the reality is they're 6-7, right? Like it's what everybody always says. You are what your record says you are, and if that's the case, then they're a sub-500 team. But this is still Lamar Jackson that we're talking about. Like, do you still believe that, like, just from a talent perspective alone, they could figure it out in these final few weeks?
Yeah, they can figure it out. They need to, they need to have some outside receivers step up and handle their business as well. The fact that he ends up going to Mark so much, and Andrews, and they take Andrews away, and then he gets stuck with the ball in his hands. So, they got to have some other guys step up around the offense. They ran. It's hard to lose when you run for over 200 and some yards.
It's incredible.
And so, they got the ground game going. Lamar had some keeps, in that, which puts all the pressure on the defense when you have to account for that 11th guy on offense. That's the thing that makes offenses tough these days when you have that mobile quarterback. I mean, you saw it if you paid attention to the game last night. Justin Herbert made 2 huge plays with keeps. And, and that's the thing that, we know what Lamar can do. We know the leadership and the explosiveness of the defense, but they all have to come together and play it all the time. And, 3rd and 5, we can't let the receiver outside release and go on a go ball and play chase coverage. I mean, it's just small details that changes field position. Maybe Pittsburgh didn't score in the drive, but that 3rd down stop, if we make it on our side of the field, now we got field position back. So those are small things within the game that, they just got to kind of detail down and do a better job of executing.
These 2 guys that were, going up against each other on Sunday, 2 guys that you know really well, that you've gone up against a lot in your careers, in Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. And, as you dealt with, they are dealing with a lot of outside noise at the moment. And, people that think that perhaps in these cities it just might be a time for change. Knowing these 2 guys the way that you know them and the jobs they've done, what do you make of when you hear someone suggest that perhaps it's time for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh or even for John Harbaugh here in Baltimore?
Yeah, ironically, I was in Pittsburgh visiting my mom the first of last week.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah.
So,
you heard it. I have no doubt.
So it was just hilarious. Yeah, we go out to eat or with friends, and we go to this, little neighborhood, bar, and I just started laughing, listening to these guys. But, I got the chance to visit with John a little bit on Saturday. So it just tightens their resolve. I mean, these guys have done a tremendous job, and you're right. I mean, they're fine football coaches that motivate their team inside out, and who are they going to replace them with? That's the first question. And because you're not going to find better than either one. And their records stand for themselves, what they've done over time, and they've dealt with adversity and so forth throughout their careers and their jobs. So, losing quarterbacks, getting new quarterbacks, those are the things that's hard. It's hard to win when your quarterback's not functioning in the National Football League. And it's shooting at any level of football. My 8-year-old grandson, when they play football, they don't have a quarterback. They lose to a team with the quarterback. I come back after the season, and they recruited that quarterback. They won the championship. So
that's a pretty good way to go. Wait a second. Are you helping coach the 8-year-old grandson in flag? I feel like that would be an insane advantage for his team.
No, I just get a kick out of listening to the other coaches. So. If the coaches for my grandson's team, they know better.
Oh, wait a second.
How they can talk to young people.
No, hang on, Marvin. I'm struggling with this. Are you completely able to, when you go watch him play, are you able to completely turn off the coach brain in you, or is there a part of you that wants to say, why are you doing that?
No, I just encourage him, Stay deep as the deepest. He's playing cornerback. Just stay deep as the deepest and watch the ball off the hand. So. But no, it's I don't think sometimes adults realize the impression they put on the young people, and as my kids were growing up and I would go to the practices, we were my daughter's cheerleading, and I gravitate over to watch the youth football while she's at cheerleading practice, and just the impact these people have on young men or young women, because that's what impacted me. And people say, well, how was your demeanor so calm? It's the way my high school football coach was, but internally you got to handle it, and you don't ever want to get labeled. Once you get labeled as a player's coach, you might as well pack your stuff because they're coming to get you.
I've heard that from a few over the years. Marvin, what else is going on in your world? I know you've been doing the Sports USA radio stuff. What else is happening in your world these days?
Not too much. It's we kind of got stuck on the way home yesterday. Didn't get home till late, but no, it was just great to be back in Baltimore. And as everybody asked me, what was the most special place, and I think it's, I said Baltimore because we were like the Zenith. We rose out of the ashes.
It's hard to explain. I know we've talked about it before. I've got a younger producer, and to explain what a miracle this was, like we use that word. It's a miracle. This city had no football and no hope, and 5 years later, you were champions. And I'm telling you right now, just repeating the words, I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about what it meant to this city because it was that unbelievable what you all did, and will truly never be forgotten.
And that's the thing I tell people. It's just special. And people say, what was the best moment? And my best moment was when I got on the bus, watching the people that did everything else within the organization, the people that did the laundry, delivered the mail, security, getting on that bus, going to the commissioner's party on Friday night with the smiles on their faces, because they're the ones who, they have to live through the losses and don't get to enjoy, the wins. But to see the smiles on their faces back then, that was awesome.
Marvin Lewis, so glad that you all were able to come back and get together this weekend. Always appreciate you taking the time for us. Thanks for hopping on this morning. Let's do it again real soon, all right?
You're very welcome.
That's Marvin Lewis. Appreciate him doing that a little bit earlier today. And, yeah, it was good to see him. And, hopefully they do have time. Hopefully they do have time to fix it. As I said yesterday, I'm really struggling with it. Somebody got on Facebook this morning in the comments and said, tired of the same old song and dance. Trust me too. I don't remember who that was. Who was that? Was that Jack?
Yes.
Jack, I assure you, me too. I would much rather be doing a different show today. But I can only do the show that I can do. The show is there enough time? Can it be fixed? We're all skeptical. We all believe the same thing. We all think, no, it can't be. But until it isn't, I can't react accordingly. Sorry. I can only react to what I can react to. Our friend Don, always checking in. Always good to hear from you, Don. Always a dynamic thought from Don. Harbaugh, family. It's the family, he says, that's colluding against Lamar Jackson. Now, that's interesting to me. The whole family is doing it?
What did Jim do last night, though? Just getting a win, I guess.
We want to say that the Harbaughs are conspiring against their quarterbacks because the offensive lines they put in front of them are horrible. That's interesting. But what is Joni Harbaugh doing to Lamar Jackson?
You didn't hear?
What's Tom Crean got against Lamar Jackson? I am actually interested, Don.
Ooh, a new Scott Boras quote just dropped as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
About
Ranger Suarez.
Oh, yeah.
When you add Ranger Suarez, you're armed and rangerous.
John Little Rock points out with the Eagles, what do you say to that? With the Eagles losing last night, the Cowboys are back in it. I guess technically that's true, too. Yes, they are still alive in the NFC East, and maybe the Eagles are about to do the 2023 thing. They're just going to alternate, either utter collapse or Super Bowl.
Like the Giants during that run when they...
pretty much either sucked
Series,
or won the World Series. Bruce Bochy's got a career sub-500 record because he either sucked or won the World Series. Just the way that it goes. Might be the plan for the Eagles as well. Either you win the Super Bowl or at least make the Super Bowl, or you fall apart completely and totally. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to end up looking like. A lot of people reacting to Tracy Wolfson from yesterday's show, and a lot of people that clearly, with all respect, aren't deep thinkers.
Whoa.
A lot of people
Our audience.
You know how many comments I got in the last 24 hours of, Ravens PR got the Tracy. Now she's backtracking. No! And I know that a lot of you are only reacting to the clip that you saw and not the entire conversation. But even within the clip that you saw, you heard what she said on Sunday. At no point during that report did Tracy Wolfson say Lamar Jackson was yelling at Daniel Faalele. You invented that. Or some guy on Twitter invented that. Because I don't even know who was that first shared it out. You are getting duped. You have a media literacy problem. You are buying someone who wants attention on the internet and what they're saying instead of actually listening to the quote or listening to the clip of what Tracy Wolfson actually said. And during the game, Tracy Wolfson never suggested that Lamar Jackson was yelling at Daniel Faalele. And part of it is that we want it to be. So it's twofold. It's that bad actors on the internet lied and said that's what she said, combined with that's what we want it to be. For some reason, we'll sleep. It's the guarantee fairy. You can,
I'll definitely admit
it's got to
that
be
I
your
was
bowl.
one of the ones when I heard it live, because I was texting with my buddy who was at the game, and I said, "Dude, guess what just happened?"
Oh,
Lamar was yelling at Faalele
because
on the
you
sideline.
wanted it
exactly.
to be that
That
Lamar
is what
Jackson
I
was
wanted
yelling
to
at
be
Daniel
happening.
Faalele. Not because she sure as hell did not say that.
She didn't say that.
You want that to be the case. And I understand that. I do get it because we're all very frustrated with Daniel Faalele. Completely understood. But that's not what occurred. She didn't change her tune. And as other people, more media literate people pointed out, it's actually insane that she apologized. If I played a role in people misconstruing what I said. No, she reported what she saw. Some bad actors on the internet decided to try to make it something else. And she did not change her tune. By the way, we had reached out to Tracy Wolfson before this. We didn't reach out to her because of the confusion about what she said. But obviously, once Griffin told me that she was going to come on, because Tracy, I think, normally comes on with us the Monday after she works a Ravens game. I feel like that's the way it's been over the years.
I don't know. It's just whatever happens works for her.
Yeah.
That's typically what's been better.
That's normally when she's joined us. And we love Tracy. Tracy's great. And we appreciate her taking the time for us. So when he said, yes, she's going to come on, I knew obviously we had to discuss it because there had been such confusion about it. But as you heard the way that I presented it, I heard what she said. She never suggested that Lamar Jackson was screaming at Daniel Faalele on the sidelines. And again, if your opinion is, but he should, all good. Have that opinion. Marvin Lewis thinks that would be performative. But if that's your opinion, that he should be getting after those guys more, have that opinion. But Tracy Wolfson didn't say that and then retract it because the Ravens, she never said that. It never occurred. You invented that. There's my take on that. Now, one other thing. We had a great day of people signing up for the Bowl Pick'em yesterday. I don't know how many people are actually in the Pick'em yet, but we've got way more than that have signed up for the Pick'em. I don't know what number we're up to. Do you have the number? Do you know what it is?
I believe. Shit, I have the wrong tab open. 28.
28.
Yeah.
That's great. We're more than halfway there, and we still have 5 days. But you know what it isn't? It isn't full. I need you to get in, Joe Serpico. I need you to get in. Ken already did, right? Ken's in. I can't yell at Ken.
Yes, Ken's in.
I need everybody, $20. Half the pot goes to the winner. The other half of the pot goes to the needs of the men and women at Helping Up Mission. So, Venmo, Glenn Clark. PayPal, Glenn Clark 180. Cash App, Glenn Clark Radio. As soon as you send it, I will send you the link. I want to get it to 50 folks. We're well on our way. I think we're going to get there. But I need your help. Send it to people you know. Say, hey, could you consider signing up for this so that we can elevate that number? Make it a $500 pot. Make it a $500 donation. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for you to help us help Helping Up Mission. $20. Winner take half. Helping Up Mission take half. Charity Bowl Pick'em contest. Joining us now, as he does every Tuesday, he is our PressBox Fantasy Football Analyst. He is our buddy Joe Serpico, and he's with us right now here on GCR. Joe, happy playoff season to you.
Same to you guys. Hopefully you guys made it in all of your leagues as well.
Not in all of them.
One league to go.
Yeah, but in enough. 3 of 4. We're in the playoffs, and we're ready to go.
4-4.
Oh, look at this guy over here. Let's talk about a couple of things. let's discuss. I'm going to start at the quarterback position actually this week because I'm genuinely interested. There's a league where I am a Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck owner, and I wonder if we should be having a conversation about Tyler Shuck at this point.
Playing Jackson Dart.
I do think we need to be having a conversation about Tyler Shuck because he's actually been pretty solid the past couple of weeks. He's over 20 points in 3 of the last 4 games. The Saints are all of a sudden showing some signs of life. It looks like that the whole team in general has kind of turned it around a little bit. So now in that comparison there, would I rather go with Dart or Shuck? I think I'm still going with Dart because he has the rushing upside there. But I do think that it's a little bit tighter than it was, let's say, a couple weeks ago.
What, where would Shuck be ranked? I guess we need to throw Shedeur Sanders. I'm assuming that we're going to be a little bit more reluctant on Shedeur Sanders than we are on Tyler Shuck. Where would you be ranking those guys?
Yeah, I mean, Sanders, we had the huge game, but again, it was against Tennessee. So, like, it's one of those situations there, take it as what it is. What we're seeing from Shuck is he's actually doing this against pretty solid defenses as well. So that's why I think in that situation, it's definitely Shuck over Sanders. I don't have them ranked too far away from each other, and that's just because of what's going on behind them is a disaster too, especially with a lot of these injuries that are coming through as of late. So the difference that I have them in ranking this week is only going to be 3 spots, but that's, again, because do you really want J.J. McCarthy? I'm not really trying to make that move. Do you want Kirk Cousins? Really not trying to make that move. I know Cam Ward he's hit or miss, but again, I need somebody that's a little bit more consistent. So give me Shuck over all those guys.
But so you're not gonna we're not going crazy. We're not getting reckless here. We're not starting Tyler Shuck over Bo Nix or something like that.
No. Well, I mean, I could see why you're considering it this week because Nix. That matchup in general, whether you have Nix or Jordan Love, that's one of those that's a little bit iffy there. But no, I'm not benching either one of those guys for Shuck, even though, I mean, the Panthers defense as of late has actually been pretty solid too. So it's one of those situations. It's, you kind of just, especially at this point of the year, I know it's hard to say it, but you just ride who got you here. Shuck's not the guy that got you here.
Unrelated, can I trust? I do. My one scenario is I've got Bo Nix against Green Bay or Caleb Williams against Cleveland. I assume I'm going back to Caleb Williams, despite the fact that the Browns' defense is really good. It just feels like enough teams have put up points against them that I'm not scared of that.
Yeah, see, that's one of the situations. Caleb Williams has been the toughest guy for me to kind of rank this week. I know a lot of the consensus has him outside the top 20. I can't put him that low just because of all the other quarterback situations again. So I'm probably still going Nix, to be honest.
All right. I will trust you on that.
I'm also in a tough spot quarterback-wise because I had Daniel Jones and Jaden Daniels in one of my leagues. And so Tyler Shuck's obviously available, so is Shedeur. Also, though, Sam Darnold playing Indy and Trevor Lawrence playing the Jets. How do you throw them into the equation? Are they ahead of Shuck?
The last 2 names are definitely, I have them ahead of Shuck. I would probably, it's hard. Would you rather have Darnold or Lawrence this week? Probably going to go with Lawrence just because the Jets just look like they've checked out. So it's close, though. But if between those two, between Darnold and Lawrence, I'll probably shoot with Lawrence just because, again, another one of those guys that does offer you some rushing upside. And then at the same time, we might be one of those situations where Seattle runs all over Indy now because they really have nothing to play for with their quarterback situation. It's going to be tough for them to get out to a lead. So I just think it's one we might see a whole lot of Jonathan Taylor this weekend. So give me Trevor Lawrence.
We're chatting with Joe Serpico, PressBox Fantasy Football Analyst. Joe, a week ago we were talking and singing the praises of Zach Ertz. Unfortunately, Zach Ertz is no longer an option. Is there anything to be said about Ben Sinnott? Frankly, is there anything at all to say about the Washington Commanders?
Sure. Yeah, they're tough to. I mean, if you need a quarterback and you're truly desperate, maybe you want to start Marcus Mariota if he's out there for you. But even I don't have. He's still sort of the back half of of all the names we've talked about as well. Ben Sinnott, again, you kind of said it. Do you really want to trust anybody? Maybe the only person I'm trying to trust on that offense right now is Chris Rodriguez, and that's kind of pushing it. And that again is you're kind of banking on him falling into the end zone. So I'm not going to Sinnott. I think there's other guys in the tight end hell that we have out there, but there's better options than I think Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott was a guy that what was it, last year, I was kind of high on too, but then when they brought back Zach Ertz, and speaking of Zach Ertz, man, what a crappy way to end your career. Hopefully that's not how he goes out.
Are you off the Terry McLaurin wagon?
So he's tough. If you have him, it's almost like one of those situations where you got to start him because I can't imagine your options are much better.
Well, I'll give you an example, right? Like after last week, I feel like I have to start Christian Watson again this week, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know, like I have to start him. So I would start Christian Watson and Cortland Sutton, and then I would have a flex option that would be McLaurin, Jawan Jennings, or Devin Singletary, or even Devin Neal.
Yeah, I think I'm probably leaning more towards Jawan Jennings. Everybody, he is the number one for San Francisco, and I like their matchup. Actually, I like San Francisco's matchups the rest of the way are actually very nice. So, to be honest, of all those names you mentioned there, I'm probably going with Jennings as my third option there at the flex.
That's what it's come to. That's where we're at.
Yep.
I guess
I'm in a league where somebody dropped Brian Thomas, so like that's the state of even the wide receiver position this year hasn't been lived up to anything.
I could also go back to Roma Dunze, but that is a very difficult thing to do at this moment.
No, especially now he's banged up. That's a situation I'm trying to avoid now too. I'm in that spot in one league too, so I get it.
I've ridden it out with Mark Andrews. Am I turning to one of this group that's available currently? I mentioned Sanat, Dalton Schultz, Colston Loveland, A.J. Barner, or Darren Waller instead.
Probably going Schultz of all those guys. It looks like he is taking on a bigger role for Texans as of late. So of all those guys you listed there, I'm probably going Schultz. And then I would probably, if he somehow gets snatched up, I'm definitely going Waller after that. I'm, like I kind of said before, Sanat is, of all those names you mentioned, he's the last of those guys that I would actually keep probably Mark Andrews before I would stick with Sanat.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat at that point. This is a very difficult time.
Yes, it is.
I think that Blake Corum, I know you put him in there, but I think he got snatched up by everybody last week. Obviously, at this point, like you're playing him, right?
Oh, I think he's flex-worthy option right now. You know, if you're somebody, he's one of those few situations, kind of like similar with the Bears are, right, where we really try to avoid starting two running backs from the same backfield, but sometimes that's the way it is. We've seen it for years with the Lions. It hasn't really been the case this year. It's shifted over to Chicago there, but at least it's the same situation down with the Rams as well. Now, with that said, both of these past couple games, the Rams have kind of been running up the score, and that kind of explains why Corum's got a little bit more look. So that's the only thing that's of a concern. But it is nice to see every time he's on the field, he's getting a touch, and he's making his touches count too. So it's not one of those guys that, you know, he's out there and he's, just taking time away from your number one. He's actually out there making plays too. So he is definitely somebody you can put into the flex if you're truly desperate.
Man.
Well, there's a lot of desperate out there right now, so I can see why you want to do it.
No, but I mean, I actually don't even know if you have to be desperate. Is the Jalen Wright thing real? Like, I'm an Achane owner, so I could understand, like, maybe if you own Achane, you want to pick up Jalen Wright, but, like, I would assume, and unless we hear anything different, like, they're not splitting that all of a sudden, are they?
No, this is a true situation where they made it sound like the Achane could have came back this past week. So it's more of, yes, if you're an Achane owner, you absolutely want to stash Wright. And now I think the thing we did learn here is, say, God forbid something was to be seriously happening to Achane, it's going to be Jalen Wright. It's not going to be Ollie Gordon, who I think we thought all was going to be the de facto if something were to happen to Achane. So that's the one thing I guess what's good for us to know heading into the playoffs. If something were to happen, we know the guy who's to own now. But, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you picking him up unless you're an Achane owner, just because it does sound like the injury wasn't too serious and he'll play this week.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the waiver wire that's even worth, like...
Ryan Flournoy.
Oh, it's
rough. It's Flournoy. I'm a CeeDee Lamb owner, so does that mean I have to be going after Flournoy? I don't have any fab left, so I can't really go that hard, but other than crossing my fingers.
I mean, you don't have to go. I mean, unless, if you really, really need somebody, yeah, but he's not somebody, he wouldn't be a high priority for me. I would probably look to see if, I don't know, if you have maybe, let's say, Luther Burden's available. I do like the uptick in his usage as of late, but, I think there's better options for you before you have to go all the way down to Florida, let's put it that way.
I'm in this weird league. I've talked about it before where like we have short benches, so guys just end up. Alvin Kamara just popped back up on the waiver wire. What is the latest there? And like, I assume I should at least be putting in a flyer, right?
So I'm in a similar situation. I actually picked him up this past weekend because it's one of those things, pick him up and see what happens. So I'm with you on that. They never put him on IR. So that's like the thing that's reason why I picked him up myself was, like, okay, if he was actually truly going to be out for at the minimum 4 games, which would have essentially knocked him out for all the fantasy for our purposes, I would have never put the claim in. But now with they not doing that, and then it kind of gives you the hope that maybe he'll be available to you in maybe I don't know if he's going to be available to you this week, but he might be an option for you next week. With all that said, I know I made the investment myself, but he's going to be hard to start in a championship game. So you put him out there, you kind of see how things play out the next couple of weeks, but it's one of those situations that injuries take a toll on you. Maybe you start Kamara, but it is going to be kind of hard to start somebody coming back from injury in a championship game unless you're like truly banged up at that position.
Yeah, I get that.
But I see why you're doing it. Like I said, I did it myself, so I understand why you're doing it. But it's one of those.
I just sort of feel like
see what happens.
You can't let him just be sitting there on the waiver wire. Like, it's just the way that I feel. Like, you can't just do that. And let's talk about defenses, because we don't normally talk about defenses, but obviously we're into the playoffs now, and so everything is heightened. And I guess not just for people that are playing this weekend, but maybe let's just say you're on a bye this week and you have the luxury of thinking ahead to next week. Let's talk about maybe who you should be looking at as far as defense is concerned.
So I mentioned them last week, the Saints, and they once again showed me this past weekend. The Saints are actually a team to own in fantasy football right now. Another one that I like to match up for this week is the I like the Steelers against the Dolphins. I even like the Panthers going against the Saints. I know we've talked about that, but we're still talking about guys who make a lot of turnovers here. So what was the one there was one that I was really focused in on that I wanted down. Oh, it was the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are the team that I wanted to own. I made sure to go out of my way to grab them for the fantasy playoffs. So if the Buccaneers happen to be out there for you, that's the one that you should go grab. If they're not, like I said, I mentioned the Saints. And then if you really need somebody else, you can maybe go to the Steelers this week and then the Panthers otherwise.
All right. And then whatever I have left fab-wise, I'm assuming I'm putting all of it on Phillip Rivers, or...
What a situation, right? I think I read something the other day that Phillip Rivers' oldest son is the same age as Riley Leonard. So that's, you're not picking him up, obviously, but at the same time, what it hurts is if you have somebody, let's say you have Michael Pittman, or, we've seen a great year from Alec Pierce. That's a huge buzzkill to anybody that owns those guys. And let's face it, if you do own any of those guys, you might as well just put them on the bench. You can't exactly. Can't start. The only guy that maybe benefits, and I don't know if he benefits, is Jonathan Taylor, but now teams are going to stack the box. So it is a cool story. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out for his Hall of Fame nomination too. So, but no, you're avoiding almost all Colts right now unless you got Jonathan Taylor, and you can't bench Tyler Warren here.
All right. Anything
How about Ravens legend Tim Patrick, who had 80 yards and a touchdown for the Jags over the weekend?
Yeah, the Jags situation. They're tough to figure out. Every week it seems to be somebody different for them. So I kind of like Lawrence. Like I said before, if he's an option, but relying on a certain receiver for them right now is just infuriating. So if you're desperate, I could see why you wouldn't make that move, but there are other guys out there I would make before I go to that route.
All right.
It's been a rough year for waiver-wire this year in general.
It's not been great. At Joe Serp, that's how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com is where you see all of his stuff. Joe, we will talk to you again before semifinal week next week. I need you in our bowl pick'em contest. You going to get in?
Yeah, send me the info. I heard you say before. Send me the info, and I'll do what I need to do.
I'm going to put Griffin in charge of that. All right. Thanks, buddy. Love you. Appreciate you.
Talk to you next week.
See you, pal. Joe Serpico with us here on GCR, as he is every Tuesday. All right. Joe, brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, the best place to watch all of the big fights, all big games, is Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. 100-foot media wall, great food and drink specials. Come on, man. It's Live Casino and Hotel, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Where else would you want to be? but inside sports and social. We're going to get a tidbit. You didn't say congratulations, by the way.
Did the Suns do something?
Back-to-back weeks, Team Norfolk.
How would I know?
Victorious.
How would I know?
Back-to-back weeks.
I don't have notifications on for the Monday Night Trivia
Even
League
more
beat
notably,
writers.
back-to-back weeks where we won because I got the final. Wow. Which is kind of wild. And Proctor does this. He pisses me off. I'll give the answer on the final, and I'll be like, okay, 15 points. Let's take it up. And I'll be like, wait, let's talk about it. Like, let me. It's like Proctor gets off and being like the first people that walk up with the answer. And I'm like, but what if it's wrong? So last week, the question was, and I remember all the details, who was the youngest solo performer to ever be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And I don't like, the years lined up that this person would have started recording music in the 60s at the age of 13.
Okay.
And I was like,
Elvis, I don't know.
No, it was Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, that's
pretty obvious because like you couldn't think of anybody else that famously little Stevie Wonder started putting out music when he was 13, and so like it made. But like when I said it, I'm like, well, let's at least think it through.
John was just like, got it.
Yeah, that John. As soon as you say something, if it even makes some roads, he's like, come on, man, let's go. And I'm like, wait, whoa. Let's just make sure that we don't think about it a little bit more and say, because then I was like, I feel like, because I think we did the math and that like Stevie, based on that math, he would be 75 years old or something like. I'm like, I feel like Stevie's a little bit older than that, so I don't know, but we did stick with it, and thankfully I got it right. Last night's final question was, I don't remember what year it was, in 1998 or 99, this former world leader appeared in a Pizza Hut commercial. And if you've ever taken like a marketing class, they talk about this constantly.
I have taken marketing class.
Oh, it's a very famous commercial.
90 and 98.
I don't remember if it was 98 or 99.
I mean, not like that's going to help me. But
I know, right?
Yeah. World leader. So
maybe it was 97.
All right. All right, fine. I'll go with
98. I had it. 98.
When did Reagan die? I'll go with Reagan.
He was alive in 98, I believe.
Okay.
I don't remember what year did.
Okay, so it's not Reagan.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Died in 2004. Yes. Okay. Ronald Reagan. So it could be Ronald Reagan.
It's not Reagan. That's my guess.
It's not Reagan.
Okay.
No, you would have not have gotten it.
Is it a U.S. president?
No, it is not.
Well, then I don't know. Mandela.
Mikhail Gorbachev is the answer, and
okay.
I knew that was the answer, and so I said it immediately.
Should I blame my marketing teachers for not?
I can't believe like it's one of anything, maybe marketing, anything that involves.
I took one in high school. I took one in
anything
college.
that involves advertising. Like classes talk about this commercial constantly because it was so absurd. The idea of Mikhail Gorbachev appearing in a Pizza Hut commercial, like it's nuts. But for a second, for some reason, I got confused about Gorbachev and Yeltsin.
Oh, me too. Sometimes.
And so for a second, I'm like, it's Gorbachev, right? It's not Yeltsin. It's Gorbachev, right? And Proctor's like, come on, take the answer up. I'm like, shut up, you. Let me think through this. And it was, of course, Gorbachev, and we did get it right. So
of course,
we were victorious again last night. The sports question last night was a ball buster. Name the three MLS teams that qualified for.
Name three?
No, that qualified for this past summer's FIFA Club World Cup.
Miami, Inter, Miami.
Yes, that is one, and we got them. I only got two of the
Seattle.
three. You've got two of the three.
And I'm not going 3 for 3 here. It was definitely Seattle and Miami, obviously.
You got a real chance.
Austin.
You could beat me on a
Austin.
No, it is not Austin.
Cincinnati.
It's not Cincinnati. No.
Columbus.
It's not Columbus. Just keep naming all the teams.
The Minnesota United or whatever.
Not Minnesota United.
Kansas City.
Not Kansas City.
Is that Sporting
Kansas City. Yeah, that's correct.
Then I probably don't know.
LAFC.
Oh, of course it was one of the
LAFC was the other answer. I went with LAFC, but I went with Vancouver instead of Seattle because Vancouver made this year's MLS final. And so I was like, maybe they made last year's final too. I don't know how any of this works. So I got 2 out of 3 on that one. That was a ball buster question. Like she asked the question and she was like, yeah, sorry.
Did anyone else go through?
Good luck.
Go 3 for 3?
I think someone got 3 for 3.
Some
And I was
MLS
like,
fan.
Yeah, I'm like, how the hell? Then I was convinced they just looked it up. They like pulled their phone. Like, how would anyone get this?
Well, because the FIFA World Cup was a big
Yeah.
deal, obviously, or whatever it was. The
Club World
Yeah,
Cup.
FIFA Club.
It was not a big deal at all.
Well, Miami
no
was
one
in
went
it.
to the match.
Seattle was in it.
You're right. No one went to the match.
And then wasn't there that big upset?
Was there? Sure. Who won?
The underdog.
There you go. Come back in. We'll get a
Like some
tidbit.
team from
tidbit and two to wrap it
Belgium,
up.
maybe?
Get into the bowl pick'em. Get in. We'll come back and wrap it up. Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
Again, if the Orioles make a move, and maybe even if they don't, maybe just today obviously is already a busy day, would not be surprised at all to see Stan the Fan Charles and Luke Jackson get together to discuss it. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. That's Stan's plan for the week as warranted conversation about what's happening at the baseball meetings. So you'll be able to watch those there, and they're always brought to you by the Costas Inn, including the new location in Timonium at the grandstand. The best place to host all of your holiday gatherings is at the Costas Inn. All right. I think we've covered everything. Why don't we get... Oh, Derek Queen. Holy crap. Derek Queen did it again last night. What, a 30-point triple-double for Derek Queen? I hear he's good.
Yeah.
I hear he's good.
Pretty elite company as well. I don't know my tip.
We went to 5 plays. Piss off.
I don't know what order I'm going to. I just don't know if I know.
5 plays for this week.
What order?
Bitch.
Well, because there's like 10, right?
There's 10, and like some that can you really include, or is it like for? Well, here, let's just do it. And we're not doing a production out of it. We're just doing it. We'll post it on the website. My number 5 makes no sense. It's a play that you would say, why in the hell would that be on this list? but I somehow have to convey the absurdity of what happened to start the final drive. So the play that I chose isn't the penalty, because like I always say, I don't want it to be penalties, right? Like, that's not really a play. But you could say what was the biggest killer was the Andrew Voorhees thing. But the truth is, they still had plenty of time. But then they ran 2 plays.
And took off, what, a minute?
This is a straight shoot. They got the ball to start the drive at the 26-yard line with 1 minute and 56 seconds left. With 55 seconds left, they ran a play from the 26-yard line. They gained 0 yards in 61 seconds. So I used the second down play, the one that was just Zay Flowers that picked up 4 yards, as a representation, because as much as we've talked about the other things, it is batshit insane that it took 61 seconds to gain 10 yards, even if you take the penalty out of it. 61 seconds to gain 10 yards. It can't happen, ever. And we're not making a big enough of a deal about it. Like, it's utterly unbelievable. The sack at the end, like, that's a bummer. I hate that it happened. But, my God, they weren't – it was a Hail Mary at that point. Because they pissed away 60 seconds to do nothing. It's unreal. I mean, it really is unreal how that played out. So I used the second down play just as an example of how absurd that was.
Yeah, I mean, that one, I ended up not including anything from the 2-minute drive.
I mean, I get
like,
it.
Yeah.
The plays
but
are
like,
not...
a bit, yeah, like I considered the Keandre Jackson penalty, the Voorhees penalty, but...
A lot of people.
I did have another.
A lot of people
on
have
my
questions
list.
about the Keandre Jackson penalty too, about whether or not it was even legitimate. So that's part of the reason.
I put the interception as my number 5. I mean, it was just a terrible throw from
terrible
Lamar.
throw.
Led to
Right
3 points for a pretty easy 3 points for the Steelers, and I mean, you know, you can't give them anything easy in the game, and they earned, I think, most of what they got. I mean, I guess my next play is going to be. My next play is the Travis Jones penalty. I think that was.
Yeah, I can't put it on the list because it's not. It's not a penalty.
It took 3 points off the border, and then they scored 7 on the very next play.
I understand. I've got bigger problems with, like, I can't put it on my list because it's nothing. Like, it didn't happen. It's insane. So I just can't put it on my list.
Well, it was.
I understand the
story.
ramifications of what occurred are significant, but there was no penalty there, so I just can't put it on my list. But I'm a hypocrite. I'll get to it. My number 4, this is my least favorite list that we've ever done, ever. And I hate the segment. And this is my least favorite list that we've ever done. My number 4, the play 2 plays after the Isaiah Likely thing, the third down play where clearly they should have called a time. I mean,
this is my number 1.
Everything.
This is
it
my
can't
number
be number 1. In fact, it's why I'm a hypocrite. The Isaiah Likely thing is my number 1.
See, that's not on my list because they had 3 plays to get into the end zone.
I understand, but it's just. This is why I hate this list. And I think, actually, it's not my number 1. Sorry, that was my number 2. It was my number 2. My number 1, I flipped it earlier today. My number 1, I'll get to. That's my number 2.
Okay.
But yeah, my number 4 is how does that happen? How do you're 3rd and 2, given how critical it is that you score a touchdown, why in the ever-loving F do you not just line up for 2 tush pushes? In the best case scenario is you do that, you convert, you force them to call more timeouts, you give them less time. I'm confused as to why the tush push. It's like we're just, hey, the play is going to be eliminated this offseason, so let's just stop calling it. What is going on? You need 2 yards. You got 2 plays to get it. It's critical. You must have them. Must have them. I am befuddled by why, and it's not just them. Like, the Eagles seem to be doing it less.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they run it?
They did run one. Well, they ran, obviously, the fake.
Oh, yeah, the fake.
That
that
turned into the
50
Saquon,
yards.
but shouldn't have because there was a blatant hold.
There's holding every play.
But this one was particularly blatant.
That guy on Ohio State was getting held every play.
Also true. But, like...
By the way, Ravens probably take that guy.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it.
He looked pretty good.
He did look good. Although we said the same thing about Jack Sawyer last year.
Yeah,
and he
but
hasn't really done anything.
At this point, just...
Yeah. Yeah, I just the 3rd and 2 was a disaster. It's number 4 for me. You already gave your number 4. My number 3 is the Rashad Bateman drop. I mean, there's no way of getting around that. That can't happen. And it was early enough that they couldn't go for it on 4th down. Like they had no choice but to kick the field goal there. And they had been building momentum after scoring a touchdown on the previous drive and then marching down the field. I mean, it's just that is a disastrous drop, and they were chasing the points the rest of the game.
I went with the 3rd and 4, 40-yard touchdown to Jalen Warren as my number 3.
That's my number 1.
I mean, they still had a quarter to come back.
I understand,
and the defense shut them down. They
had just gotten going offensively. They had just built up the momentum.
Yeah, it was awful.
They had just done.
I mean, there were 10 awful plays in this game.
At this point, like everything was going your way. For as bizarre as things were, it was on your racket again. You had just gotten back within a score. Like, it was 3rd down. It was 3rd down.
They ran that same play like 3 times in a row on this drive. And then finally the Ravens decided they weren't going to defend it, and it goes untouched.
That was my number 1. And Isaiah Likely was number 2.
That was my number 3. The Bateman drop was my number 2. And then the 3rd and 2 was my number 1. I thought that was
all good. This is
the worst play of the game.
Terrible week for a list.
Voorhees was illegally off or offsides, whatever. Anyway,
nothing good would have come from it. Just a terrible week for this list because it was a bizarre week. All right, now tidbit.
Malik Washington.
Yes.
Most passing touchdowns in as a freshman in Terps history.
Neat.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's it.
No, I got a Dairy Queen one. Hold on.
I hope it's not who the other, because I feel like I saw one of these lists last night.
Well, then you better get it. The Pelicans shared only 5 players in NBA history have recorded a 30-point triple-double before turning 21.
Yeah, I did see this. Now I got to remember who they all were. It was Luka, right?
Luka, yes.
And LeBron.
No. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes, LeBron on the list. Yeah,
and then there were 2 more. Because then I believe the order was Luka, LeBron. They listed by age.
They listed LeBron, Luka.
Okay.
2 others than Derek. Derek Queen finished with 33 points.
Wemby.
Yes, Wemby's on the list. 10 rebounds, 10 assists.
Don't remember who the other one was.
Derek Queen last night.
Don't remember. Man, for the life of me, I can't remember who the last guy was on this list.
Once you get it, I'm gonna see if you can. You should know what team he's on. Yeah.
What he's current?
Yeah.
So he's active.
Yeah, he's active.
Active player.
Yeah, all 5 of these
Could it
guys
be?
are active.
Could it be Russell Westbrook?
It is not Russell Westbrook. He used to play on the team that Russell Westbrook's currently on. Do you know what team Russell Westbrook's on?
I know he's a Sacramento King.
He is a Sacramento King. I think he had a triple-double last night.
Did he?
Yeah.
Old time's sake.
Vintage Russ last night. He had like 24, 14, and 12.
I don't. You know, this is a bizarre the internet. Our friend Sean Salisbury was going on with Grant Napier, who was a long time. He was the Kings play-by-play voice. I think there was a little controversy, and he might have been ousted. And I didn't know Grant Napier was back on the radio. Like, I had no idea. And so then I clicked to find out that Grant Napier was back on the radio, and then I saw his Twitter account, and he had something about Russell Westbrook, and I was like, Russell Westbrook's a Sacramento King,
and he's still scoring triple doubles.
How about that?
The only reason I knew is because he's on my fantasy team.
Russell Westbrook, yes. So somebody who used to play for the Sacramento Kings, that's still active.
Mm-hmm.
So De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox is the answer.
I didn't remember that it was De'Aaron Fox.
What team is he on?
He was traded to the Spurs, right?
Yes. So there you go. That's the
and that was in
company
the
that Dairy Queen
that was in a 3-team trade, right?
That was at I don't know. It was in February or whatever.
Yeah, and then we had it at trivia, and I was panicked. I was like,
Who was the other team?
Yeah.
I don't think I can remember who the other team involved was.
Trade.
Oh, Zach LaVine. Okay.
Zach LaVine. 100%.
Zach LaVine went to Sacramento, and the Bulls. Yeah. I don't know who ended up with the Bulls.
Zach LaVine went to the Kings. Yeah, who did the Bulls get?
They just got picked.
Chicago got Zach Collins, Trey Jones. Oh, Kevin Huerter was in that trade.
Oh, okay.
How about it? All right. And they apparently got a first-round pick back from the Spurs that they had originally traded to the Spurs.
Love the NBA.
It's a weird place, man. It's a really weird place.
I did. Hensley shared one from ESPN Research.
Is that what we do now? We call him by his last name.
Jameson Hensley shared one. ESPN reporter for the Baltimore.
Griffin's calling Twitter, and now Hensley with a post.
Everyone knows who he is, right? I mean,
here's a dank meme from Schaefer.
Ravens are the first team since 2022 to lose after recording 200 plus rush yards and allowing 50 or fewer in a game. Last team to do that was the Jaguars in 2022. They lost to the Colts.
Great.
So that's a stat.
Thanks, bud.
That's a stat for you.
Here's what's coming up tubular-wise. Tubular is brought to you by Project Game Day, which returns this Sunday. I think we're going to have the whole crew back together. I believe it'll be me, Rita, KZ, Steck, Griffin, and former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser. If you missed this past Sunday, including a cameo from Mayor Brandon Scott, you can find it. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. You can always just go to PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, and Live Casino and Hotel. A lot of local teams in action, college hoops-wise, tonight on ESPN+. Buffalo and UMBC at 5 this afternoon. So a nice
game.
early game for UMBC because the women, I think, are playing tonight. It's a doubleheader night at UMBC. Loyola's at VMI at 6 o'clock, also on ESPN+. Coppins at St. Joe's at 7 on ESPN+. And Morgan's at DePaul. All of them on ESPN+. So you can make a night out of watching local hoops tonight on ESPN+. The Jimmy V Classic is tonight on ESPN. It's Clemson and BYU at 6:30, and then Florida and UConn at 9. This one's kind of a low-key good one. USC and San Diego.
At San Diego.
At San Diego, which is weird.
Apparently, Musselman, I think, went to San Diego.
Oh, okay.
So that's
all right.
why, yeah.
And San Diego, as we know from the Kissimmee tournament where they beat Towson in the final, pretty good team. That's
different. I think it's the San Diego.
Oh, this is the Toreros. This isn't you.
This is not UC San Diego.
Damn it! Never mind. I take it all back.
San Diego. The Torero's not nearly as good as UC.
I got it all wrong, and now I feel like an asshole. No, that's it. That's it.
It should still be. I mean, it's still good to see a Power 5 going to the.
Yeah, it's neat, but it's not as neat as if it had been a good team. That would have been great if it had been USC had a good team. That's what I.
Because it was like San Diego State lost to somebody at one. I think it might have been. This San Diego, it might have been, I don't know. San Diego State went to a small school as well last year and lost. I forget who, but it was one of those.
There's too many San. Can we be honest? There's too many San Diegos. Somebody's going to have to change.
I think you could argue there's not enough.
No, I love San Diego itself. I'm just saying that these schools.
There's San Diego Mesa.
Somebody has to go with something else.
You can't not Mesa.
It's too many San Diegos. You got to pick something else there.
Oh.
Big Ten hoops tonight. Villanova, Michigan at 6:30 on FS1. So. Good luck to Kevin Willard.
Yeah, see if he can not lose by 40.
Right. Penn State, Indiana at 8:30 on FS1. And Illinois, Ohio State at 7:30 on Peacock as well. Everything else, check it out, glennclarkradio.com. If you're is tonight the NBA Cup semifinal? No, that's
I think so.
There's the quarterfinals, I think, are tonight.
So there's only a couple games.
We
right?
forgot to do a pool for that, so I don't care. You can't get me to pretend to care. I'm sorry. Non-sports.
Kevin Costner presents The First Christmas on ABC at 8 p.m.
Like the birth of Jesus? Is that
so.
what this is?
So. Costner hosts the special.
Is he playing Jesus?
The extraordinary journey of Mary and Joseph as they navigate the hardships, trials, and triumphs surrounding Christ's birth.
Is Darlene Love involved? Because
I don't know.
And I'm probably going to be out.
I don't know. Frosty the Snowman and Shrek the Halls are on NBC tonight.
Big fan.
Yeah,
big fan.
Both pretty good programs. Arena Sabalenka is going to be a guest on Fallon tonight, alongside Victoria Beckham and.
By the way,
Lily Collins.
So this is in tennis. This is a silly season where they just go play like exhibitions. It's a bummer because we used to have a great one in Baltimore. Pam Shriver hosted for years. Where
did they play it?
They played at the arena.
Oh.
And the bit was like they partner a star.
Oh, it's like dancing with tennis with the stars,
but with a Oriole or a Raven. So like Brady Anderson would do it, and like be like Brady Anderson and Steffi Graf against. Because I went to a couple of these, and I've already
Pam Shriver
against B.J. Surhoff and Martina Hingis. Like that type of concept would be and they would have like a standalone men's match. Like it would be 2 matches, and then it'd be silly. They'd mic up. Tony Saragusa was like the chair umpire for one when I went, which was great. Like, it was a great event, but it was for, like, hardcore tennis nerds. Like, and I guess it was for local sports fans, too, because it was neat to see them interact, and it was fun, right? And this was in an era before there was a Twitter.
This was, like, in December?
They would do it in silly season. They do it, like, this is...
that's what you call the off-season?
Yeah, there's no tournaments that matter. Like, you're just doing whatever you can. So, silly season, they, like, send good players to various places and Just play an exhibition match.
Yannick Sinner was at the F1 race the other day.
Okay.
I don't think he was doing any tennis.
I don't think so. But they do this in Atlanta and Miami, and the Tennis Channel now basically broadcasts all of them, so they have something to air during December. So they were at Madison Square Garden last night, and the bit was they pulled like a fan out of the stands and said, it was Naomi Osaka and Aryna Sabalenka, which is why she's in New York to do still doesn't make sense that she's on, but whatever, who cares? Good for her. I mean, I don't like Fallon, but like whatever.
Oh wow, I didn't know he hated Fallon.
He's just I don't hate him. His show is just awful. Like it's
Still in the air.
It's a truly awful show. But they pulled this fan out and let him play a point for Aryna Sabalenka, and he was like able to hit it back and forth with the Naomi Osaka for a little while, and so the crowd was like, "Oh, that's neat, like good for this jamoke, like whatever." And so then later, Naomi Osaka was like, "Okay, you come play a point for me. This is the bit. Like this is what they do in these silly seasons." And the guy couldn't return her serve.
Couldn't return Sabalenka or Osaka.
Yeah, whoever it was. But they kept going with it.
Okay.
Like he was like, let me try again. And then the crowd is just, no, we don't need to see Jack. We're here to watch Naomi Osaka and Aryna Sabalenka get back to that. And so the crowd is killing him. Just kill. Like it's supposed to be this fun moment that the crowd is into, and instead it's a New York crowd watching some jackass attempt to play tennis, and they are just, you suck. He's like,
You gotta bring it back to Baltimore.
Dude, it was awesome.
See
It was
Adley.
Pam explained why. Part of it,
Colton Cowser playing tennis. Come on.
Well, like the teams don't really want the guys doing that, because then, like back in the day, there was less like money
Gunner's
involved.
playing in the World Baseball Classic. Who cares?
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point. This is exactly as much of an exhibition as that is. Like the guys don't live here, so like you have to fly them in.
Yeah,
like
but Colton will come back for this.
There's a lot of complications to why it ended, and it was a bummer because it was awesome. It was a really cool event. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a dope event, and I miss it, and I'd love to bring it back, but just don't think that's happening.
Roofman is streaming on Paramount Plus.
What is that?
That's the Channing Tatum one where he like lives in like a department store or something.
I don't remember that.
It looked. I didn't see it, but it looks
Okay.
good. So I think I'll have to check it out.
All right, very good. That it?
Yeah, season 1 finale of All's Fair on Hulu.
Whatever that is. Thank
That's
you.
The Kim Kardashian, like the
Oh,
women's law firm.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hard Knocks, of course, as well. I know you're gonna be
big
glued.
fan.
You're gonna be
Big
buckled in at 9 p.m. for.
Thanks today to Marvin Lewis. Thanks to Steve Wyche. Thanks to Bo Smolka and to Joe Serpico. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the
Letterman and Regina Hall will be on Kimmel tonight.
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Sure. Tomorrow on the program is Drew.
I forgot to check. I think so.
That might play a factor in other decisions that we made. I'm fine with that decision. Stuff and Things?
Yeah,
Stuff and Things on the program tomorrow. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Volo Sports, Nick's Fish House, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, the Costas Inn, Live Casino and Hotel, your Baltimore area, High's Dairy Stores, and much more. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the charity bowl pick'em already.
Joe Serpico's in.
Thank you, Joe. Glenn-Clark. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. Glenn-Clark on Venmo. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. $20 to get in. Need you in. Need to fill these spots. We're so close. We got 20 spots to fill. All right. There we go. Did we say anything? We're good. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Go all the local teams. Go UMBC, Loyola, Morgan, Coppin, Duke sucks.